and a degree course.
We never
And
had that.
the first question. I mean, let me give you an example. The question on the maths paper was, if I multiply 5 rabbis by 3, how many rabbis do I have?
You had to do all that.
I had to do all that.
Well,
Yes.
we don't seem to have that in our monkism, because we find that it's simply a question of which custard you eat. If you eat the right type of custard, you're instantly eligible to become a monk. That's why we.
How is that explained theoretically?
Well, it's a question of what's on the packet. You see, on the packet you have a jolly smiling friar with a rotund figure.
What custard is this?
This is monk's custard.
Monk's custard?
Yes.
Right.
Now,
the custard I've seen is, it's got a little duck on it. A bird.
that's bird's custard, yes, but bird's custard is different from monk's custard because they were bought out by bird's custard. Originally it was monks eat it custard.
Right, I see. And what decided you on to take this pathway, as we would say, up to the monastery?
I decided to become a monk because before that I used to be a rabbi.
Really?
I used to be a rabbi in Jerusalem during the hard days, the days when it was very difficult to, how can I say, pretend not to be, because we were chased from pillar to post and from post to pillar. One minute I was a pillar and the next minute I was a post. That's the only way I managed to survive. After several years of doing this, I suddenly thought, I've got to get out of here. So when we had the overthrow of the British and we became an independent nation, I decided to stand up and be counted.
And how many were you?
There were several others who had the same ideas as me, but the trick was that I couldn't disguise my appearance. Needless to say, that when the
Laughing is very good for you.
when the opportunity came, I stowed away on a British ship.
God laughs often.
I became a stoker because, fortunately, there was a stoker on the ship who looked just like me.
So you can get those hats in Jerusalem.
I travelled to Liverpool where I learned the dialect of English there. And from there I moved on to Cambridge and became a don. I lectured in religious studies there, and it was through those gates that I eventually passed to become what I am today, a custard-eating monk of the first order. Now, I find that our religion seems to help. I refer to our in the sense that my original Judaic religion, whilst it was wonderful and warm and soft and curly, didn't have the consistency that I found in the custard. That I used to find that if you, let me give you an illustration of this. I used to eat what's called, what you probably know now, but you may not have known when you were a pastor, that when you have lokshen and pasta are very similar, but the difference is in the sound that they make.
Yes.
That, as you know, that if, say for instance, pasta is, whereas lokshen is like
I
that.
thought lokshen would be more.
Yes, well, it is a difference there, you see, and that's what.
Did you do the test as well?
I did the test.
Well, what happened?
I had.
This, I mean the test, the Tower of Pisa.
The Tower of Pisa
yes,
test.
so you were dropping a
bowl of custard.
No,
well, what I did.
Lokshen and pasta at the same time, and see which one hits the ground first.
I applied for that test, but I was
Right.
turned down. I wrote all the necessary papers to His Holiness. He said to me on the phone that he was very interested in my problem, but he said, as I was
You admit there is a problem then.
as I was a rabbi and didn't have sufficient clout, as it were, I was not going to be able to become an archbishop. even though I was a Master of Divinity at Cambridge.
Hmm.
What changed my mind was, as I said, I discovered that monk's custard was the only true way to God, because of the consistency of the beverage, or not the beverage, the food. Now, you may not know this, but you can live on custard alone.
I have
Custard
heard. I
alone
have heard.
will definitely get you to heaven.
I have heard this, but I'm afraid, without trying to be disrespectful to your beliefs, I have been through these various fads before, and I have not found that there is salvation in custard. I mean, I did try, when I was a Lutheran pastor, on a diet of worms, to follow these by custard. I found it did not help, because the problem is that you never stop eating. Now let me explain. You know, when you cut a worm in half,
Yes.
it continues to exist as two separate worms, which
Yeah.
each go their separate ways.
Yes.
Well, you imagine you're eating this plate of worms, this diet of worms, and when you cut them in half and eat them, or you eat one, you're still left with the same amount. So you're continually eating.
Is it being switched off?
Oh, God.
Right, that's good, that's good.
I think that's enough of that.
Tape end. Oh, there we are. Oh, charming.
Can we watch this now?
Yeah, come That's good.
Because mine's still running, so there. I'm better than him, I'm much better.